Hello everyone, thank you very much for joining me today in the series of videos concerning the Marconi microwave radio test set model 6200A. If you remember in the previous part we had a faulty barrier Schottky diode which had failed, and this is the particular module that you're looking at now is the diode pickoff module, which samples the RF output signal that's generated within the unit and then obviously passed out onto the N-type connector on the front of the test set. This is used in the ALC, the automatic limiter control circuitry, to keep the RF level linear on the output, and it uses this to calibrate itself to perform the correct RF level adjustments with the pin diode attenuators. So without this working, the RF level output is unlevel, and it failed to calibrate as well. That was another fault. So we've done its best. We've replaced it with another Schottky diode, which has a frequency specification up to 40 gigahertz in this case, and that's the black circle that you can see here. And it was incredibly difficult to solder in place because the white board here that you can see is actually a T-pad. You've got an RF coming in, a resistance material bridging to the diode, and then you've two resistors going up and down which form a 50 ohm load. So trying to solder onto that glass substrate which is heat sinked to this body is very difficult, but I've managed to do it by hand. And to give you an idea of the tolerances we're talking about, the soldering iron that I'm using this is under like times 20 magnification that you're looking at now. This is the size of a tip we're looking at, and that's a small tip, is that very small indeed. And as you can see, it's quite large in comparison to the pins on the diode. Anyway, we've soldered it onto the board the best we can manually. It's very difficult to do. I needed to use magnifying glasses in order to do it, as well as try and solder. Very difficult by hand, but I've managed it. So we've got a voltmeter set up on the bench, and we have a 20 gigahertz signal being fed in on the SMA plug here, and we've got a DC potential on the voltmeter and connect on properly. So that's at 20 gigahertz. We've got nearly minus 50 millivolts. I've checked this already on the frequencies from 2 gigahertz to 20 gigahertz, and it gives a DC output. This is obviously used in the ALC circuit on the test set, so that it performs an automatic limiter control on the RF output, and this picks off some of the RF signal and samples it, and then produces a DC voltage here, which is then sent to the digital circuitry, as we looked in the previous video in the diagrams where I detailed how it worked. And that then in turn controls pin diode attenuators on all the frequencies between 10 megahertz to 20 gigahertz, which then keeps the output leveled. So without this, the output is unlevel, and likewise in the calibration procedure for the test instrument, it also uses this, the voltage that it gets off of this, to calibrate the RF output level on spot frequencies from 10 megahertz to 20 gigahertz, so that once it's stored that into memory, once you recall a frequency and a level with the user settings, then it will know how to limit the output in order to give a correct calibrated level out. So it's very important, is this. The diode that we put in is a Schottky diode, an RF Schottky, specially made for RF applications. Has a frequency switching range of up to 40 gigahertz. It's extremely delicate, but we've managed to get it in, as you can see. I'm very happy at the moment that at least we're getting some RF rectification to DC level, which means that at least I've got some confidence that when I put it back in the test set, something will happen. So I'll come back to you in the next video, showing you the next steps to see whether we've actually done a repair that's successful. It's worth a try. The only other thing I can do after this is buy this part. I've seen these on eBay where somebody stripped down a 6200A Marconi test set and they're selling the individual parts off, and somebody's selling one of these already on eBay in Israel, I think it is, who's got this limited pickoff diode, and as well as that the pin diode assembly. But they want a lot of money for it, and I'm not prepared to pay that. So I've tried to effect a component level repair. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, we've not lost anything. This diode didn't cost me anything, it's one I had in stock, and we'll see what happens. You never know your luck. See you in the next video.